नरंकेन्द्र यथौ समर्पितस्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे विरोधे कार्तिके मासे शतताराकृतोदयं योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमहं भजे। कृष्णसूरीदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्देऽहं योगदेशिकम्। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। मुक्ताविद्रुमहे मनीलधवळछायै मुखैस्त्रीक्षणैः युक्तामिन्दुकलानिबद्धमकुटां तत्त्वार्थवर्णात्मिकां गायत्री वरदाभयाङ्कुशकषाः शुभ्रं कपालं गुणं शङ्खचक्रमदारविन्दयुगलं हस्तैर्वहन्तीं भजे। Namaste. Good afternoon to everyone. I am extremely delighted to give this talk on my teacher, our teacher, the Paramaguru in this tradition. Before I start, I would like to share my feelings about this place. I had occasions to visit a number of places in India and abroad, in such seminars, summits and others. But this place is completely different. For those like me who do 3 times a Vedic ritual called Sandhyavana, where Gayatri mantra is the main mantra which is recited, this is a different place. The vibrations are felt here in every room. And as I was telling my colleague Janakiram, in fact he had a room outside. We had put a room for him in a hotel, but there was some space in my room. I asked him to, I requested the people to accommodate him. And I told him, there is a presence of Gayatri here. The holiness, the vibrations. And Krishnamacharya recommended the Gayatri meditation. I'll start with it. I met my teacher, Deshkachar, in 1982, when I was already a higher management position in a bank. In fact, particularly the investment bank. I was very busy. So I just wanted to learn from him something for personal development, not even therapy. I didn't know that there is some therapy aspect to yoga there. Personal development, improving concentration, holding emotions, etc. But I found a lot of things. It was an opening for me. And I never wanted to be a yoga teacher. I just told him. He said, no, you come and start teaching in Krishnamacharya Yoga Mantra after a few lessons. You will learn only by teaching. His method of teaching is different. So I started teaching also in the part-time and learning a lot of scriptures and other things. But from day one, I have been doing therapy. I didn't know I have been doing therapy. And in that, he will assign only one student to us, and we will have to work with the student. He will guide us through completely. There is a Sanskrit word called anugraha. Anugraha means to hold the hand and take the person. That is how he will teach. His way of teaching is really an anugraha. And personal lessons he was giving for me on asana and pranayama. I have still got, because he is the one who got the idea of putting stick diagrams, because he was a civil engineer, Deshkacha, our teacher, TKV Deshkacha. So he will put stick diagrams, and we adapt postures to every individual. So I have still got all my lessons with his handwriting with me. After about 2 years or so, I took the courage. It is not easy to ask for and take lessons from these great teachers. You cannot demand. Now the present day problem is that you can demand. Oh, I have paid the fees. You teach me this. In fact, people come and tell them, will you teach me pranayama? Will you teach me dhyana? Or will you only teach me asana? Something like that. All sort of dictative things. I think these are all the things we have got from the West, probably. We have not got the best, particularly punctuality, but other things we got. You know? So I took the courage to one day, when he was in a great mood, like what he says in Bhagavad Gita. You should serve the teacher, and at appropriate time ask for your queries. So I asked him, you have not been teaching me dhyanam, sir. I have tried dhyanam with other schools, including transcendental meditation, but it didn't fix up. Nothing fixed up for me. And do you think if I am eligible, can you teach me dhyanam? Then he said in Tamil, Father says Sandhyanam is the dhyanam. Then I said, I have been doing it from my 11th year when I was initiated into Gayatri as a boy. No, what you are doing is just a ritualistic thing. I will teach you the yogic part of it. See, this Sandhyanam is considered to be a Vaidika Tantrika Karma. Vaidika Tantrika Karma. Vaidika because there are mantras in that completely, including Gayatri, which is called Mahagayatri, which is the main part. Repetition, japa. Jap comes from the word jap, means to repeat. Repetition can be done in Uchchai, aloud, Upamsu, lip movement, Manasika by mind, mentally. But that is the main. And he said, you should come, I will teach you. And I and another very senior most disciple of Krishnamacharya, Dr. A.T. Mohan, he has got his own school now. Both of us alone went to Deshkacha and he took the notes and started going through. There are various traditions in this Sandhyavana depending on the various rishis and others. So how does this Sandhyavana, a ritual, I can conclude, notice. How does this ritual become a meditation? That is, if I start with that, it will be useful to know. So Krishnamacharya divides this meditation into 3 angas. A meditative practice, a practice of meditation. It's like a protocol. This tradition follows a particular protocol. There is Purvanga, Pradhananga and Uttaranga. Purvanga, Pradhananga is the japa. In fact, we think that is the meditation. True, that is the meditation. But unless you do the Purvanga correctly, which includes postures, breathing and nyasa. And the postures are certain specific postures. And breathing is a special breathing which today morning Ananda said about the left inhale. In fact, it is only Chakravedana that is given in this ritual. Left inhale, hold the breath, and then recite the Gayatri in a particular way. You see, you should know how demanding this is, how this connects. There are some postures in which we have to sit and sip water and sprinkle water in our head with mantras. I had the occasion to do a complete demo in MDNIY in one of the yoga festivals. Dr. Basareddy wanted me to do that. So one evening completely, I did a complete demo on this. And after asana, we have pranayama. And I will tell you, just visualize this pranayama. Inhale through the left nostril. Hold the breath. Kumbhaka. Anta Kumbhaka. Then recite this mantra mentally. I am going to recite. Om Bhuhu Om Bhuva Om Sava Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat Om Abho Jyoti Raso Amritam Brahma Bhurбhuvassu Varo. This is one time. You have to repeat 3 times. Hold the breath, mentally repeat 3 times, and then you should have enough breath to have an exhalation. You can't leave it like that. There should be enough breath for you to exhale. Exhale must be smooth. There was a question about Ashtanga Yoga and Hatha Yoga. I'd like to add a point there. See, a lot of things which went unexplained in Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali have been given in the Hatha Yoga. Shanai, Shanai, how one should breathe. Particularly the exhalation must be Shanai, Shanai, must be slow, slow. Unless you are able to do the exhalation of slowly, you have not done the hold properly. How demanding it is. You may have to get ready for that. After this, there are certain nyasas, mudras, which act as the pratyahara, inviting Gayatri. We keep the hand like this. Ayatu Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Samhitam Gayatri Chandasam Mata Itam Brahma Jushasvana Om Ojosi Sahosi Balamasi Bhrajosi Devanam Damanamasi Vishwamasi Vishwayu Sarvamasi Sarvayu Abhipuru Gayatri Magayami. This is the Avahanam of Gayatri. You are in the form of Om. You are near to Brahma. You are everything. You would have heard what I said. This is the nyasa which comes in the place of pratyahara. Pratyahara is done in this way, according to Yajnavalkya Samhita also. After that, we go for the japa, and there is a uttarana. We just don't jump out of the japa immediately. You should slowly come out of it with a uttarana, where then we will do a pranayama in the same way, and then get up and do Dikbandhana and complete it. So, according to our teacher Krishnamacharya, entirely this protocol is the dhyana which comes in the Vedic tradition. And he says all other forms of meditative practices have come out of this in various ways. So, Krishnamacharya, who has given yoga to the world as properly introduced by Anandaji, called the father of the modern day yoga, was a whole Purnacharya. I had the great privilege to be under his feet to hear him talk about his life alone, and we made a small biographical sketch out of that. I'll just take you through a few of the points, and I was thinking how I will introduce this topic. I just went to the Ganges yesterday and prayed at Ganges, and then I said, we are seeing the Ganges here. In fact, Ganges in some places here itself is very, very big. Have we gone to Gangotri to see the roots from where the Ganges is coming? This is like that. A small trip into the back to the source to see how we have great teachers. Of course, we had Sivananda, and then the tradition which is followed by Kaivalyadham Yoga Institute. I think it's Madhava, Acharya. Every one of the tradition, the name, if you give a tradition, there will be a teacher. And it is called as Guru Bhyasya Guru Bhyasya Namo Vakamadi Madi Uruni Maye Jatratradyo Dampati Jagatampati. This is a prayer. I am praying to my teacher, Tat Guru Bhyasya, to that teacher, and in the lineage which goes to the first couple. And if you look at the tradition of yoga, ancient traditions of yoga, Shiva taught Parvati, and Yagya will get taught Gargi. There, everyone, you can see the tradition coming, and they are the first gurus in these traditions. So the first guru in this tradition, he calls, there is someone else in this tradition for Krishnamacharya called Natham. I go through briefly, can you start the first one? And so the meaning, there is the word, his name was called T. Krishnamacharya. Now he is known as T. Krishnamacharya. T stands for Tirumala. That is a place near Chennai, the down south, that some of you may be aware of, a great temple for Lord Venkateshwara Srinivasa. And from there, the family travels to Karnataka and they settle in Karnataka. And his name is Krishna, which is a very common name. His name is only Krishna. In fact, Vyasa is also Krishna only. Vyasa's name is Krishna. Krishna Dvaipayana Veda Vyasa. Because he was born in an island and he edited the entire Veda. His name is Krishna. This is a very special name, starting from Lord Krishna. Krishna is nothing. Akarshayati iti Krishna. If someone is attracting you all, that person is a Krishna. Now, Acharya is special. Can you go to the next slide? I think it is better we spend a minute on this. There are more than 2-3 words for teacher in Sanskrit. There is a word guru which we often use. Of course, often we know from gu to ru. Gu is gugara, which is, darkness, vidya or ajnana. Ru, the one who removes that, prukara. That's very common. In fact, in Upanishads and in some places, guru can be anything. Even an animal or even a mountain. Guru can be anything, a river. There are some places where they say how these can be called, inanimate things can also be called as guru. But Acharya, all cannot be Acharya. In fact, we don't call inanimate things as Acharya, etc. Because Achinoti Shastrartha Acharya Sthapayetavi Swayam Acharate Yasmat Tasmat Acharya Uchete. I am taking a few minutes to explain because at the end of the day, this is what certain things we are trying to put across through IYA to people, particularly those who want to be teachers. The speciality of yoga to be a teacher is, have you practiced your yoga? Are you practicing every day? Can't say that I have done my PhD in yoga, I won't practice. It doesn't work here like that. It should not. Every day, till the last day, 101 year, Krishnamacharya was practicing, I know. In his 98th year, he fell down, broke the hip, he was hospitalized, and he was doing postures in the bed, including Vipada Peda, which is in Google. You can see the YouTube. And our teacher, I know our teacher, Deshkachar, he passed on in his around his 80s, and he was also practicing till the end. Whether you teach or not, my teacher says, whether you teach on a particular day or not, don't worry. But don't miss your practice, should not miss your practice. Shastra Arthat, after grasping the entire Shastras and knowing all the important texts which are required, minimum Yoga Sutra, Hatha Yoga Pratipika, Yajnavalkya Samhita, Bhagavad Gita, any of these Gheranda Samhitas or Pure Samhita, and we have, in our tradition, we have it, it's called Yoga Ragasya. All this must be learned under a teacher, you don't read a book. Then you practice, Vayam Acharate, then you start giving the teaching. So, right there he was called Yogacharya. He was born on November 8. In fact, we are getting a birthday now. Today? Guru Kripa. Today is his birthday. And you can see, actually we celebrate birthday based on stars. You know, on the star birthday is coming on Tuesday. In fact, I will be back to Chennai and we will do a chanting session there. So, his father was a Vedic Pandit and he was running a Gurukulam in Karnataka. Just the place is still there, but Gurukulam is not there. And he had his earlier education. He says in his father's Gurukulam, he says we will doing yoga as children. His father has taught him other children. Of course, all of you know what is Gurukulam from India. Gurukulam is the children learning and living with the teacher. Living with the teacher. Krishnamacharya lost his father when he was 11 and he was taken to and put in a Parashada Mutt. The place is there in Mysore where he started continuing to learn things. And he went to the north from Karnataka. He goes to north like we do to go to Harvard, Princeton. In those days, it is in the north of India in Varanasi. All the important universities were there. And all his education was completely in Sanskrit, Veda, Angas and others. And it is comprehensive enough that he could talk on any science also, including human anatomy and all that. That is the type of comprehensiveness we have in our Vedic education. It's being brought out slowly now. Now slowly they are bringing out. Yeah, next. This is his congregation. That is where he is wearing a lot of medals. So he had, next one. So he had about 5 titles, 6 titles. Can you go back? In this, Vedanta Keshari, Veda Vakisha, Sankhya Yoga Shikhamani, Yogacharya, Nyayacharya. These are all some of the titles. And he says for every one of them, we are now getting a title, you know. So today, in those days it was there. And only thing is, for getting every title, he says we have to present a paper, like a PhD. And he has presented papers to every one of the titles that he has got. And he has additionally done a lot of special works. That he was very strong in Krishna Yajurveda and the Paninian grammar. So he was strong. And mantra, padartha, tattva, nirnaya. That is one of the words. We haven't got it. Mantras we know. Pada, that is the word. Artha, meaning. Mantra, padartha, tattva, nirnaya. What is the basis of these mantras getting the meaning? He has got a PhD on that. So after doing, he goes to Himalayas and in search of a person, teacher, And he says he went in those days near Mansarovar Kailash, and where he meets a great teacher who is with a family. His name is Rama Mohana Brahmachari. Of course, we all know that Brahmachari does not mean the person is a bachelor. He is a person with family. We get Dhirendra Brahmachari like that. I think most of you would know better than that. And then he says that Rama Mohana Brahmachari teacher says, no, you don't stay here, you better go down. And whatever you learn, he learns Yoga Kuranda. And he says that was one of the texts that was taught to him. We still don't have a complete text of that. There are some versions available. It is in Nepali language. There are some postures, there are some therapeutic aspects. He, under the guidance of his teacher, he comes down and gets married and raises a family. And he established a Yoga Shala in Mysore. The place is still there. One of the kings of the Mysore. When the independence came, the Yoga Shala had to be closed down. In the Yoga Shala, he meets Indra Devi, that is from where? One of the very earlier students of him, a lady, a foreigner, who was originally from Russia but later went to Hollywood, and she even had this thing there, and turns into the Indian this thing and comes down to India in search of looking at master. The king introduces the foreigner. He had a different name. Later he was called Indra Devi. She lived for 100 years, and she was later in South Africa finally toward the end. And she learned and started spreading. In fact, there are some concepts also which we follow, which I would like to add here and say how they came. See, we follow, not at all. We follow a concept called modification in postures. If someone is not able to do a posture, we modify it. Can you come and show it? I'll just show you an example of the modifications that we do in Kevalam, because I thought this opportunity, just not a story, but some stuff also should be there. I am asking him to do the posture called Paschimottanasana. I think this is the same name probably used everywhere in India, Paschimottanasana. But for a stiff, generally Paschimottanasana is where one has to raise the arm, bend forward, and the forehead will have to be touching the knee. That is the classical Paschimottanasana. But most of the people cannot do that. You will have to. So what we do is, instead of just leaving it or forcing the person to do, we will ask the person to raise the knee. Can you go down? Exhale. Use it. And this is a modification. And thank you. The idea is that we say what is the idea of modification? First, what is the idea of doing a posture? Why do we do a posture? You have so many postures. So in his book called Yoga Makaranda, where he has given the classical postures, he has shown himself. His postures are all classical, like B.K. Sainga, who followed the. So the postures are there with a function. Every posture has a function to do. A function that has to deliver. So if you have a cup of, like tea cup, there is a form for that. No, thank you. You have a tea cup and a saucer. A cup and a saucer. There are forms for that. But there is a function. A tea cup will hold the tea. A saucer is sometimes people use a saucer and they will pour the tea and take it. Or some people don't do that. There is a function for everything. So the Paschimottanasana, the function of the Paschimottanasana is If you have the function properly done, the result will come. Otherwise, the result will not come. There is a result expected. Result is not the function. The function will give the result. The function of getting the head nearer to your knee in a forward bend, according to Hatha Yoga Pratipika, it says, Pavanam Pachima Vahini Gacchati. Pavanam means air. Air is not going. Actually, that parcel is the parcel which is expected to push the prana into Sushumna. So, you have to do it after doing Mahamudra, because Mahamudra raises the Kundalini, passage is opened, and when you do Paschimottanasana, we call it as counter pose also, the opening has done, and Pavanam Pachima Vahini Gacchati. You go on trying the classical way, and if you are not able to get a stretch here in this place, there should be a Uttana. That means there should be a stretch. Pachima Uttana. Uttana, Pachima Uttana. There should be a stretch that should be felt. It's not a pain. If you don't feel that stretch, there are people who are very, very flexible. We know of people. Particularly, there are maybe somebody will be there, one or two people in the crowd. I think people from Japan will be very, very flexible also. If you just take the legs, they will put their head down and they will stay there quietly as if they are sleeping. It has no value at all. You can take a photograph out of it, that's all. And it is just classical. So the way of this modification was given by him because he said when Indira Devi came to him, she was very stiff already. He used to take classes individually for people, like separately in the Yogashala, and there he showed how postures must be modified to get the function out of it. In Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, in the asana part, one of the important things is modifying. And we can make the posture more better for him if I will, by making the breath work then. Make the exhale hold, then you will feel the ball better. That is what I want to add when Dr. Ganesh Rao said about the Ananta Samapatipya Prayatna Shaitilya. This is Prayatna Shaitilya, Ananta Samapatipya, by introducing breath. We even introduce mantra there. That is his specialty. In the posture, we will add breathing and mantra together. That takes us towards Prayatna Shaitilya, Ananta Samapati. So, and Yoga Journal, what Ananda introduced, you may have never heard of you. What happens? It has gone to sleep. Sleep with them. But Tirumala Krishnamacharya influenced or perhaps even invented your yoga. Whether you practice the dynamic series of Pattabhi, the refined alignment of B.K. Singha, classical postures of Indira Devi, customized vinyasa of Deshikacharya, practice stems from one source, a 5'2" Brahmin born more than 100 years ago in a small South Indian village. This came in 2001 in the Yoga Journal. Can we go next step? And his important works, Yoga Valli, a Sanskrit commentary on Yoga Sutra, chapter 1, which we have published. Presently, the publication is in Sanskrit and with a Tamil translation. We will be bringing out, I have completed a series of webinar lectures on this in English, every sentence, because in the Yoga Sutra, we have got a lot of commentaries. Even now commentaries are still coming. Commentaries are lectures based. And the most traditional basic commentary is Vyasa's commentary. From there you have got Vachaspati Mishra, Vijnana Bhikshu, so many commentaries which are, there is a commentary from a person called Shankara, but not Adi Shankara. And they say commentary is called Bhashyam, commentary is called a Tika, Tipani, so many. And he has written a special commentary which is based on the philosophy part of Sri Vaishnavism, to which Krishnamacharya's faith is. And he traces this to a lineage leading up to Vishnu, Mahavishnu, known as Narayana, and with Lakshmi. So they are the first teachers. From there we have got 12 of great saints, we call Tamil saints, who brought the teaching. One of them is called Nammarwar, and from Nammarwar we get Nathamuni, and from Nathamuni we get this lineage. And in the Yoga Valley he traces everything. So he is giving his own interpretation for every sutra, particularly in the first section of the Kaivalyapada, where he talks about every one of them, he takes separately and he gives independent commentary on them. He will say what is Samadhi according to this tradition, what is Samapatti, what is the various Samadhis. He has also written a commentary in the background of his knowledge and knowledge on the Uttaramimamsa, Vedanta Sutra. He has given a commentary. And there is something called Yoganjali Saram. All his teachings were in the form of Sanskrit poetry. So we put them together into two parts, Yoganjali Saram and Dhyana Malika. He has written a number of hymns on various gods, goddesses, particularly on Gayatri, on his special deity is called a form of Vishnu called a horse face. Hayagriva, that is his special, and he has written a lot of hymns on Hayagriva. Can you go to the next one? When I should stop? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Can you go back? This is the spiritual lineage. Was the previous one anything? Previous one? Okay, go to the next one. Next. This is the next one. Nathamuni is the name. He traces, for he learned under Ramavan Brahmachari various aspects of yoga. He says he had even gone to Sringeri even in those days. In his book called Yoga Makaranda, where he is talking about 20-25 postures, especially up to headstand. He calls them vinyasas, various vinyasas, the way in which it can be done. That, he says there were 700 postures that were practiced in the lineage of Shankara, in the Sringeri Shankaracharya. So he goes to various places to learn, and that is the speciality. This Nathamuni was born, you can see in the 9th century, early 10th century, foremost among the Sri Vaishnava teachers, revived the 4,000 Tamil verses. Nathamuni had done 3, of which one is called Yoga Ragasya, which was lost. And he revised this. Can you come?
To the next one?
Yeah. And I think next one is.
Can you do it? Is this?
I'll do that.
Can you go to the
Previous.
There is one slide before. Can you
இதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன ஆகும்?
Okay, his strong beliefs. I think. What are his strong beliefs? This Yoga Ragasya, he talks about the Yoga Ragasya. We have published a book called Yoga Ragasya, where there is a lot about the postures and other things, breathing, and even bandhas and all. The strong belief of Krishnamacharya is Vedas are the authority. Vede yogo bhahuta proktaha tatrashtango yogo mukhyaha padanjalistu bhagavan nittam sadeva shutraihi sukritaihi kripadahu. Vedas gives or their source of complete yoga. There Ashtanga yoga is there. That was brought out by Patanjali. Because Patanjali himself says, before me Ashtanga yoga existed. Acha yoga, Anushasana. And he says, so we need to acknowledge the Vedas as the authority, Patanjali as the authority of the Ashtanga yoga. one should live according to the injunctions of the Vedas. He is very clear about the Yama Niyama part of it. Very, very clear. He says without Yama and Niyama, whatever asana, pranayama, dhyana you do, according to him, will not give the required results. It may give results. If I raise my arm up and down for a few times, certainly the muscles will work. But is that the result that we want? So it will not give. And he is talking very highly important as a prescriptive about brahmacharya, he will say. And particularly when in the first chapter of Yogavalli, he talks about the therapeutic aspects of yoga. And he will say, yoga is the best therapy, but it should be followed with the niyamas properly. And practice of yoga is for him compulsory for bhoga and apavarga, enjoyment or emancipation. Following yama and niyama is an integral part of yoga. I'll just take one or two from the poem. I have taken one, I just give, there are about 30 verses in this Yoganjali Saram, and I read the Sanskrit. It's a few of them because I think we have got about 5 minutes to go. And we can see, whenever we read such verses and all, we can see the way in which he had the facility to look. In fact, I know that Krishnamacharya, when I had the occasion to hear him, he can talk about 6-7 languages easily. The only thing was English was a bit not good. So he will say separate words for English. He will say yoga means control of mind, he will say. But he was very good in Sanskrit and Hindi, so good. Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, most of the languages, Indian languages. So all his teachings were in the form of only one language, that is Sanskrit. And most of them will be in verses. In fact, our teacher Deskacharya used to say, we always get a doubt. If we are in Samadhi, what will happen? How do we know we are in Samadhi or not? Should we be just sitting like this, without any movement, closing the eyes, and like a rock, so nobody can move us? What is the way in which one should know being in a place of Samadhi? He said, whenever he is in Samadhi, he will get a lot of such points, which is in the form of such wonder. Even today, if your mind has gone to that state of stillness, poetry will flow from you. You don't have to think that you are a kavi or not a kavi. It will come. Ada vasana punaravrite adya vritte bhagavat sharanam guruvara charanam pranamya paschat samadrit prana samarabhita. I have taken the 24th verse. We have put it in this Yoga Anjali Saram. I thought that we can put it in various ways. See, he says how to start the day. Begin the day, and he will elsewhere he will say begin the day in the Brahma Muhurta. Just before sunrise, he does not put the word Brahma Muhurta, before sunrise. Begin the day by praying the teacher and God, and then practice asana and pranayama. We can do, in this tradition, we also do our morning meditation, and then do the asana and pranayama and meditation also. Another 5 minutes, 3 minutes. Jumnerdhaya Pragevasana Sandhya Purana Vidayatkarya Yame Pranayama Dasha Kurya Ayurvidhyai. I think I'll finish with that because there is an excellent important message which I would like to give it to you. You can take it with you. See, Jumna Yuga, that is like waking up, I told you. And then Sandhya Puja is Sandhya, I told you. And then facing the east. Separately, that is first line. Separately, Yame Pranayamam Dasha Kulyat Ayurvrittihi. Do we know that we think that yoga means it must be done a particular part of the day, right? In the morning, right? I was just telling in the panel that yoga should be done more than one part of the day. If you look at this Sandhyandana, it is done 3 times a day. It is done just before the sunrise. It is done just in the mid, when the sun is in the mid or noon, and before the sunset. 3 times. And you can, I told you already, Ashtanga Yoga is there in Sandhyandana. 3 times a day, 1. Second, if you want to detail the asana pranayama, you can do it in the morning, after the morning. Second is, finally at the night, and we have been experimenting, we are practicing, night meditation gives a lot of difference. It takes care of the sleep quality very well at the night before sleep. Now, intermittently, he says, 3 hours, every 3 hours, do 10 pranayama. So if you wake up at 6 o'clock, 10, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9. And you can see 3 hours is the time that takes for food to get digested, and you will be ready for the pranayama. And the moment the agni becomes better, you can take your next food. Only when the agni is better, you should eat properly. The question is, if you get the hunger, you eat. If I don't get the hunger, what will I do? I'll be sitting down there. Make the hunger by making the pranayama and make the agni better. And that is how one of the important things. Just do 10 rounds of Nadi Shuddhi. Thank you so much. And I will end here with this. Are there any questions? I am ready to answer. Otherwise, we will close it. Shanti Shanti.